Hello, Oracles. Well, last week Tesla had announced a game changer, which we discussed on here a little bit, and then after thinking about it and discussing it more over the weekend, I realized just how much this is going to change the game for Tesla and EVs in the future. We'll get into that in a minute. First, we're going to take a look at the stock price right now. We are pushing up just over $300 pre-market. So again, we talked about this last week. Potentially could be seeing a little bit of a run up. Maybe the bears have to cover. There may be a little bit of FOMO buying going on with newer investors. So we could see the stock push up a little bit more. I do still think we are going to get this pullback. We've got CPI and PPI coming out Tuesday and Wednesday this week respectively. We've got the FOMC meeting going on next week. We've got midterm elections going on. Some rumors coming out about the 15th of this month with Putin. Who knows what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Looks like Ukraine is fighting back. Lots and lots of still macro environment uncertainty that I think could potentially pull us back down. Not guaranteed. I wish we would just run to the moon, but just looking at all of these pieces of information leads me to believe that we probably will see a pullback before we continue running up to the moon. How far we pull back, I don't know. I play it by the gaps. I see the gaps that we have down to 258 and 247. Whether we fill them or not, who knows? There is a gap down to 289 as well. I have a feeling that one will get filled. So again, we're just going to pay attention to the charts on a daily basis to see what's going on for those of you who do pay attention to near-term price movements. Otherwise, long-term, we are going to be looking at something that Tesla has decided to do or could potentially be deciding to do in the future that could change the game for themselves. So before we get into that, I do want to mention that I have started up memberships. So memberships, you take a look down below. It's 3 different levels. There's Oracle 1, Oracle 2, and Oracle 3. Again, this is one of those things where I've got some perks in there, some perks I want to be able to do for you guys. In the future, there will be more perks added on to it. It's just something that became glaringly obvious to me lately was I'm struggling to get to all of your comments, and I want to make sure I can get to chat with all of you. There's only so much time in the day that I've got, and if I do have to prioritize, I want to prioritize those of you who are members first. So unfortunately, I've got to do something like that, but I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome problem to have, so thank you all so much for all of your support. I will still continue to try to get to everybody's comments and reply to everyone. I don't have all the time in the world to be able to do all of it. So I've got the membership program. Again, it's $1 and $2. Totally up to you guys, not necessary whatsoever. But if you want to become a member, you can go ahead and do so down there. All right, so now onto the game changer. Last week, Tesla had announced that they would potentially be getting into refining of lithium and other battery material components. So this is just, again, something that is early on in the game. They really don't know exactly if they're going to do it. They're just seeking out the feasibility behind it all. But again, we've talked about how Elon has said the next big bottleneck that they see is going to be lithium. So looking at just how some of these things are working, and Stuart Price had actually sent over an article over in the UK about why Elon Musk should be purchasing Glencore materials rather than Twitter. And Glencore is one of the world's largest diversified natural resource companies. So this is something that Tesla has been, looking at doing when it comes to the refining. So why this is a game changer leads me back to looking at the chip supply shortages. When we got the chip supply shortages, it took all of legacy auto and it completely collapsed their businesses for 2 years. Meanwhile, Tesla thrived through this because they were in control of their own destiny. They figured it out. They figured out how to tweak chips to be what they needed them to be, and they kept on pumping out vehicles without a hiccup. So they definitely were affected by it. Elon did say that, but they still smashed all of their numbers. Now, if we're looking at the next bottleneck coming up, we are looking at lithium. Now, based on this article is saying that there's a lot of companies out there that are intentionally holding back on mining more resources because they want to keep the prices high. They see what is going on with the EV revolution. These companies that are in charge of all the supplies and the materials and all these battery components and the raw materials, they want to be in control. Very much like, Saudi Aramco and the oil companies are in control of the world when it comes to those resources. Well, these other companies want to be in control of these resources as we move forward. They want to be the next Saudi Aramco. Well, here comes Tesla saying, well, F that noise, we are going to come in here and we're going to just do it ourselves. Because if you're going to hold back the entire world from transitioning over to renewable energy because of your greed, then we're going to go around you. We're going to go do it ourselves. And so when we get to that point where Tesla is going to be hitting that bottleneck, they're not going to be bottlenecked by other people and other suppliers who are holding them back. They're going to be in control of their own destiny. Part of me wonders if this is something that Legacy Auto has kind of created themselves, knowing that they are so far behind Tesla right now that they're like, you know what? If we can keep Tesla from getting any resources that they need to be able to produce faster, then it will allow us to catch up. And Tesla wants nothing to do with that. Tesla says, fine, if you guys want to slow down the progress of us and everyone else, go for it, but we're going to figure out how to do it so you don't slow us down. So this is what Tesla is doing. No confirmations on this yet. This is just what I'm seeing playing out based upon the information that we had gotten last week. Seems like if they do decide to do this, they could be breaking ground by the end of this year and actually start doing the refining by 2024, which would line up perfectly with the timing of what they would need for robo-taxis as they take off. We've got the compact car, which is most likely going to be coming out in 2024. So they'll be able to supply all of their battery materials for that. And then, because they're going to be doing it in the US, that is really going to help them qualify for the EV tax credit. That is technically unnecessary for them, but that would mean that they definitely qualify because they're producing their own lithium. They've got their own battery components that they are bringing up here in the US. Now let's take a look at other automotive manufacturers as well. If we've got Legacy Auto that's out here and they're saying, hey, maybe Ford does end up ramping up relatively quickly, cool. And maybe Ford's production is being squeezed by the fact that they cannot get these materials. Well, guess what? If Tesla happens to have extra materials, guess who they could sell them to? Oh, that's right, Ford. So now Tesla could be supplying Ford with battery material components and more. So these are just things that are playing out in my head as possibilities that we could be seeing in the future. But this step by Tesla is going to be that game changer that is going to allow Tesla to thrive through any issues that are going to be controlled by someone else when it comes to materials. And Tesla's just going to run right through it because they are supplying their own. And I have a feeling that this is going to play a major role when it comes to Master Plan Part 3. I have a feeling Master Plan Part 3 is definitely going to involve a lot of the changing of the world over to renewable energy rather than just the EVs. I think the EV component is still going to be in there, but a major focus is going to be on everything that is needed for energy purposes rather than EV purposes. And Elon was over in Norway ahead of the ONS conference that took place last month and had a quick little interview with some reporters. Elon normally does not speak to reporters, but he had a quick 4-minute little interview with them. And basically wanted to start off just by thanking Norway. Norway has been leading the world in the EV revolution and changing over to EVs. So Elon wanted to thank them immensely for all of that, and quickly and briefly discussed how, right now oil and natural gas are still needed. The world would collapse if we just got rid of them altogether. So it's important to still utilize those, but it's also important to continue to transitioning the world over to renewable and sustainable energy. And Elon had mentioned that over in Norway, perhaps during especially the winter seasons, they could use wind, maybe wind from the northern shores, and be able to store some of that wind power and then export that down to southern Europe. They can do that. You store that power, you send it down to southern Europe, and they can then share that. Similar to a lot of times here in the US, we see all the fires that are burning out in California, and then we've got, floods happening in the other side of the country. If there was a way that we could just transport that water over to California and put the fires out, that would be great. So this, it's not as easy to do that, but, it's something that Elon is saying is a possibility. Store that energy from the wind, ship it down south, and then this way, both people can end up winning and not having a major issue when it comes to energy supplies, and that'll help them transition away from oil and natural gas. And Elon did say that the two toughest challenges that we face as a world right now are switching over to renewable, sustainable energy and population decline. So he basically said, let's keep on working on changing over to renewable energy and make some babies, because that's important, and it's not just, making a whole lot of babies. It's just, we need to get back to the point where we're actually growing the population rather than actually seeing it shrink in the future. And for those of you who were on yesterday for the live stream with Vinny and Alexandra, thank you so much. That was an amazing time. I learned so much from Alexandra on that. And one of the things that she had mentioned at the end is a movement that she is doing. She's going to be sending a letter over to Yahoo Finance and trying to get them to use the Altman Z score on their finance page, because that is a very important score to go by. So if you want to find out about that, you can go ahead and Google it. I'll get into that later this week as well. And then another piece that she was talking about is how the credit ratings, because they are so corrupt, the way that you can actually get away from them is just to have them, not be used. The only reason that they are relevant is because people use them. So she is requesting as many people as possible reach out to your pension funds, reach out to your institutions, and say, hey, are you guys using the credit rating score? And if so, can you stop using it because it's a very corrupt system? I mean, literally, you pay money to get your credit score going up, and it really doesn't have as much to do with actual numbers because you're literally paying to get the rating that you want. So we have seen this, and whether Tesla is going to play that game or not, we shall see in the future. Alexandra would like to see that happen. She would like to see Tesla go ahead and do that, then do some buybacks along with it. She thinks, it's Apple had done that back in 2013, and their stock had done very well since then. So it's something that, unfortunately, it's a game that needs to be played if they want to go that route. But it would be nice if we didn't have to worry about that game. And maybe this is why Elon is just saying Moody's is irrelevant, because he thinks this is a silly game to play and he doesn't want to get into that. But we can do our part and just go out there and reach out to our pension funds and reach out to our institutions and say, hey, we understand that the credit rating is a corrupt system, so please do not use that. Use an alternate source of information, maybe the Altman Z-score as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you guys watch the interview yesterday with Alexandra? What did you guys think about that? And let me know what you guys think about this game changer for Tesla. How much do you think that getting into lithium refining and battery material component refining is going to change the game for Tesla and the EV revolution? And let me know how much you think this is going to change the game for the energy system in the future when it comes to Tesla transitioning the entire world over to renewable energy. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. If you'd like to become a member, you can sign up down below as well. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. You can follow me over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. You can also follow us over on Patreon. That link is also down in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.